Megan. I just turned 30 a few days ago, and 2025 is the year that I'm going to be tackling all of my debt. So I do have just shy of $40,000 in credit card debt. So I moved to the DC area in 2017 after I graduated college. I was making about $46,000, I think, my first year teaching. I was living with another teacher friend of mine, and we were probably putting about 50% of our paychecks each month into rent. On top of that, we were going out a lot. We were Ubering everywhere. We were going to brunches. We were going into the city. I'm a teacher, so I was buying a lot of new supplies for my classroom, books, gifts for my kids, furniture for my classroom. And I had a bunch of educational tests that I needed to take in order to get certified in my state. I had to take, I think, 7 different tests. If you've taken any tests before, you know they're a couple $100s a piece. And I had 2 of them that I could not pass, so I had to take them multiple times. We don't get any stipend back for that, so that was all out of pocket. I had to go on my credit card. I also just have some really poor shopping habits. If I was stressed, I would go shopping. If I was sad, I would go shopping. If I was happy, I would treat myself and go shopping. A lot of people have said, get another job, get another job. I was working multiple jobs. My first, I think, 3 years, I was working 4 jobs. I was teaching full-time, I was teaching dance part-time, 3 days a week. I was tutoring. At one point, I think I was tutoring 4 different kids. And then I was also walking dogs whenever I could on WAG. And I also adopted my own dog. I did adopt him, but still that was like $400. And then vet bills, vaccines, all that were just something that I could not afford. And I was just like, okay, we're gonna put in the credit card because this is what I want. I had a lot of friends that were getting married, so travel, a lot of Airbnbs, a lot of wedding gifts, a lot of bachelorette gifts, a lot of bridal shower gifts. All that stuff adds up like crazy. This last year, I also got Invisalign, which is something that I've been wanting to do for years and years and years. That was $6,000 on my credit card right there.
Right, we're gonna pause for just a second. Okay, let me take it back to her lovely photo here. Now, first off, I do write notes, yada yada. Okay, so if you want to know why I'm looking down, that's why I'm looking down. Because on TikToks, unlike the Ramsey shows and other documentaries I do, I try not to stop TikToks, but sometimes, I have to do it. But anyways, okay, so let's dissect here what she was talking about. First off, she's a teacher. Welcome. I think her name is Megan. I'm a teacher also. I'm in my 19th year of teaching middle school and at the same school here in Tampa. So she says that she has a roommate, 50% spent on rent. Totally reasonable. It's not unusual that people are spending 50% of their take-home income on rent. So it's forcing a lot of people, obviously, to have to partner up. The hard part, and I think that's difficult for a lot of people, is you go to school, you get a professional degree, and you can't even afford a 1-bedroom. I know my old 1-bedroom when I left in 2020 before I got the condo, okay, which I'm sitting in, but it's hidden by an AI screen, okay? Before I got my condo, I was renting a 675 square foot bedroom. Here in Tampa, it's only like less than 2 miles from me. So I'm in the same class, blue collar working neighborhood, so to speak, okay? So my rent in 2020 in a 675 square foot place with no washer and dryer was running me just shy of $1,000 a month. Today, that same place rents for about $1,700 a month. In fact, I did an experiment about 2 years ago to see if I could reapply to that place. I didn't tell them I'd bothered to live there. Okay, I didn't want them to know. And there wasn't a application fee. I didn't do a formal application. It was just kind of one of those drop-ins. And I said to her, hey, you know what? I'm a teacher. At the time, I was in my 16th year of teaching. I said, do you think, and I was making probably about $58,000 a year. Again, this is about, 3 years ago or so. And I said to her, do you think it'd be possible for me to rent this apartment? And I pointed to the exact same apartment, that same square footage, exact same unit, in fact, okay? Same thing, everything, where I lived overlooking the pool, yada, yada. And I was told that I did not make enough money to rent a 1-bedroom apartment and that I would need a co-signer. And that is a true story. That was 2-3 years ago. And here I was, 16 years in teaching. I'm making in the upper 50s and was basically told you need a co-signer. I was told that if I tried to apply, I would be denied because I don't make 3 times the rent. And this clearly is a problem that a lot of people are having. Okay, we don't make 3 times the rent. So that's forcing a lot of people, professionals, all right, to need a roommate. So she talks about teacher supplies. to buy furniture and stuff, that's a lot of voluntary spending. Unless she's, even if you're in an impoverished neighborhood, paper and pencil, okay? Paper and pencil, if nothing else. But the things with furniture and all of that stuff, really, that's pretty voluntary. It is my experience. Now, maybe she has a different experience. I'm not sure what type of school district she works in. Again, I've been at the same school, same district, but I'm a third generation teacher, and I've never heard of a teacher needing to buy furniture. Yes, they can buy furniture. I mean, if you want to buy a couch for your classroom and you want to buy a rocking chair, okay, be the district's guest. They're not going to stop you. It's not illegal to have that stuff in your classroom. But saying that, you're buying, furniture, when she said furniture, that's voluntary. State exams, yes, state exams to be teachers cost hundreds of dollars. And every time you have to take that state exam, you have to keep paying that $100 over and over and over. And we do mean in the hundreds. $150, $175 to take a state exam. So if you keep bombing the state exam, yes, just like she said, she has to keep reapplying to take those state exams over and over. She talks about poor shopping habits. I admire her for just coming out and admitting it. Okay, she looks like she's definitely in her 20s. I'm 57, so she recognizes that she has poor shopping habits. We can see that in the buying the furniture for the classroom. Hey, I'm just saying. Also, she says she adopted a dog. Now, I'm going to attach at the end of this TikTok. All right, I will attach it at the top. Okay, I'm going to attach a TikTok that I did on the cost of pet. As I said, I write my notes down because I just can't remember all this stuff. I did a TikTok on the cost of pet ownership, and a lot of people don't like to admit that Fifi, FIFO, and Fluffy are voluntary bills. Pets are voluntary debt. It is not mandatory, short of you needing a guide dog, an emotional support dog with a doctor's note that wears one of those little vests that's allowed to go everywhere. But you just want Fifi and Fido. Those are voluntary. Pets are a lot of money, but I encourage you to watch the pet ownership thing that I'll attach at the end, because in that video, a woman breaks down and tells you just how much bare bones you should plan on having per year to take care of your pet. And I'll tell you this, it's not in the hundreds. So be looking for that at the end. Weddings and gifts. People, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I can't afford to be a bridesmaid because I just financially can't afford it. I can't afford to fly to Waikiki, okay, to watch my BFF get married. It's okay to say no when it comes to weddings. Going out and buying, wedding treats, okay, find a different way to say congratulations on the wedding. I have to be honest, okay, and again, if you have followed my channel, I've been bankrupt twice, so I'm speaking from a lot of experience. That was in my 20s and 30s is when it happened, okay? But I'm speaking from a lot of experience about you have to have the ability to say no. And you are under no obligation to run up your credit card so you can attend somebody's wedding. And anyone who's really a friend of yours anyways isn't going to expect you to go broke over their wedding day. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. There's stuff about weddings and gifts. And finally, she talked about the 6K Invisalign. $6,000. I think Invisalign is what you put on your teeth for like braces or something like that. Okay. I think that's what it is. I should have looked it up, but I know it has something to do with teeth and invisible of something. I think it has something to do with invisible braces. She said she had been wanting it for a long time and she couldn't afford it. So what does she do? She puts it on her credit card. It's a hard truth sometimes, so we have to accept that we've wanted something for a long time, we can't afford it, and we must also accept that we still can't afford it. If I looked at this just from a fast breakdown, most of this is all voluntary. The only thing that I can see two things on here that I would say are not voluntary that I think she did right. One is the rent. Splitting the rent. I get it. I get that 50% of your paycheck is on rent. And maybe you're going as low as you can. I'm going to say that she's using her best judgment. I do not see, a roof over your head. So I will excuse that. And the other thing that I would absolutely say would be the state teaching exams. It's a bummer that she's had to take them more than once, but I had to take mine more than once too. And they make you take a lot. When she says 6, 7 exams, that's not an exaggeration. But let's be honest here, folks. The wedding gowns, the wedding gifts, not the wedding gown, but the wedding gifts, you didn't need that. The Invisalign, could have waited. Or maybe there was a less expensive version. You just weren't going to be able to get Invisalign. Adopting a dog, that was all voluntary. Poor shopping habits, she admits to that. A good girl. And supplies for, furniture. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items on my list. I know it looks kind of scribbled. And of those 7 items, 2 of them, which are the rent and the state exams, I would say easily excusable. The rest of it, all voluntary. Think about what your budget looks like.
If you're constantly going into debt for Christmas, listen up. So if you are always using your credit cards and things like that, you can save if you start either now or after Christmas, $25 a week. I started this myself, and by the time Christmas 2025 comes, you'll have $1,200 to $1,300. But the key is automation. You have to automate the savings, because if you automate it, then you'll essentially get to a point where you forget it and it becomes a habit, and then it's just automatically, subconsciously goes into your mind that, okay, this is going to my savings account. However, you also need to make sure that you put it in a high yield savings account. You want to put it in a high yield savings account because you're going to get a higher yield, and since that money is just going to be building up for the next year, you're going to earn more interest rather than putting it in a savings account at your local
bank. Okay, here's the thing. Something that I do, and it might help some of you if you have not tried it yet. The FSA account, the flexible savings account, for those of you who have employers that, they pay for part of your medical. It's very much the same idea. I think having a flexible savings account where my medical insurance and all of that stuff comes out, I don't even see it. I put $200 a month towards it. It covers literally $1,300 for my medical deductible. And it covers contacts, chiropractic appointments, dental appointments, yada, yada. Take that same idea with the flexible spending account, and what she's just basically having you do is she's having you put it towards a Christmas savings account. But automation, where your employer can take it out and put it into some fund that you can't easily get to. Now, something that I do, and it can be considered controversial, but hey, the thing about money is when it gets right down to it, it's what works for you, okay? This is what works for me. I intentionally overpay my taxes. Yes, I do. I overpay them by a few hundred. We're not talking thousands of dollars, like I wish I had thousands of dollars a month to overpay. But we're talking a couple hundred. I overpay my taxes because I don't want to owe a dime. That's just me. Some people, they find it. I have one gal pal, she and her husband like to see if they can get it right to the dollar, okay? And that's cool. Whatever works for you, okay? Just as long as if you owe, you have some sort of savings account to go to should you owe. I've never owed taxes, okay? But if you're able to take any sort of account and have your employer just take it and automatically put the money into another account and you don't see it, that's the best way to do it. And you tend to take, at least with medical, you take better care of yourself. Because I don't think, oh geez, I need $50 for a chiropractic adjustment deductible. I can just go. Okay, and I mean, it covers everything, even down to my contact solution and all of that. And you will take better care of yourself during the holidays, I believe, also, if you, just like this lady suggested, take your money and get it automated. Put it into an account that maybe your employer holds and you don't see it. Or even do my suggestion, okay? Throw an extra, $100 a month, $50 a paycheck, and overpay Uncle Sam. But again, that's only if you know that's only if you know you're not going to owe taxes. So, yeah. Automation is great.
bank that's earning you less than 1%.
$41,958.02 worth of debt. That is how much I want to pay off in 2025. Overall, I have 3 student loans and 1 credit card that I've racked up a decent chunk of debt on. And in the year 2025, my credit card will be paid off in full, my first student loan will be paid off in full, and I will have taken a decent chunk out of my second student loan. My credit card balance going into 2025 is $8,887.44. As far as my first student loan goes, my balance going into 2025 is $20,111.35. My second student loan balance on this loan is a little bit over $36,600. This is what works within my budget.
We're behind you all the way.
$567. If you thought that's how much I made on TikTok Shop this year, you are unfortunately incorrect, because this is actually the number that I owe in student loan debt. I'm going to take you along on the journey to pay off my student loans in 2025.
Now, you know that in 2022, okay, you may not know, I had my $110 student loan forgiven after 16 years. It started at $85,000 when I was 36, and I was stupid and got 2 master degrees. And I got the second degree before the first degree was even paid off. So I went and got 2 master degrees, had an $85,000 student loan at the age of 38. Okay, so officially $85,000 at the age of 38, and that's the first year I started teaching. And I quickly realized that living alone, being a single school teacher, even trimming down my budget, all right, I could never make enough to pay for my basic cost of living, to pay, and like I said, just not too long ago, I was telling you that I lived in a 675 square foot apartment in a blue collar side of town, okay? So we're not living it up here, okay? And even the place that I live in now, very modest, okay? A little bit nicer neighborhood, not much. I mean, they're really socioeconomically the same, okay? Just good old working class school teacher, firefighter, police officer, okay? But I had my 110 forgiven after 16 years of teaching from loan forgiveness, PSLF.
Agreed that we are going to put a minimum of $2,000 of our regular income into my student loans every month. And then on top of that, I'm going to do quite a few side hustles and a low buy year. I made this spreadsheet here to show every loan I have and its interest rate. Our plan is to pay off this $24,000 loan first because it has the highest interest rate by far. Also,
now Dave Ramsey, and you know, I do a lot of commentary on Dave Ramsey, okay? She says they're going to go with the highest interest rate first. Now, Dave Ramsey, and I actually agree with Dave Ramsey in this case. And again, you know, it's all your preference, all right? I look at all these bills. I think I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. But I noticed a couple of them are really small. 2,000, 1,000. We have a couple more 3 or 4 more 2,000s. Me, I would go the Dave Ramsey method, and this is why Dave Ramsey would say snowball it. Just take the lowest balance and knock it out. But the lowest balance, but somebody would say, but if we go with the lowest balance, you know, we're going to knock out a bill that has 0% interest. It's pennies on the dollar that you're going to technically be saving. Okay? But because you could take this bill of 13, and 4 of them, I think, are about between 1 and 2,000. That could knock it down to 8. Fast. Now you've only got 8 bills. So this is why I like the snowball method. Not everybody likes it. Do you, boo-boo? But when I look at a list this long, it can be very daunting. And the bottom line is the small amount of, I mean, I know it's 0% interest, but get rid of the bill. Just get rid of it.
So all of the other loans I have besides the $24,000 loan actually have a $0 minimum monthly payment right now. For now, in 2025, I'm pretty much just going to be paying off this $24,000 loan. And then hopefully by the end of the year, that one will be done. My husband and I do both work a 9-to-5 job. And so the $2,000 that we're going to put towards these loans every month is coming from our regular 9-to-5 jobs. And then any side hustle money I make is in addition to the $2,000.
And as I've discussed, and as I've preached many times, and will continue to preach, these goals that these talkers have made for 2025, which I think is wonderful and commendable, these are only going to be as strong as each party that is responsible for helping to pay off the debt is mentally capable of sustaining it and wants to get out of debt. So some of these TikTokers, you know, they have other people that they're going to have to rely on to get out of debt. Now, my assumption is it's all going to be good and well, and their partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I think it's mainly husband. I think it's the last gal. It's her husband. Okay, as long as they're both on the same track the entire journey and nobody gives up. But I wish them well.
My name is Chelsea, and I'm in $98,543.58.
Let's all just take a minute and pray. Okay, Chelsea, tell us the story, girlfriend.
It was written up there. Let's talk about my debt so maybe you feel a little bit better about yours. When I was 21, I graduated from college and I was in over $150,000 worth of debt. Now 33, and I'm now down to $98,000. I would love to say that that's all just student loan debt, but that is some student loan debt as well as some credit card debt. For a very long time, it was extremely debilitating to be in that much debt. I was super sad about it. I had a very unhealthy relationship with money. But this past year, I've been super motivated to pay it down. And I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about it with other people that may be in the same situation that I'm in. My goal.
You know, when I went through my 2 bankruptcies, it was in the 90s, and this sort of social media platform did not exist. I did not have my first computer till I was 26 years old, and AOL, America Online, dial-up, and all of that stuff was just coming into line. There was no one to talk about it. And now everybody talks about it, and, you know, it's got to be done right. But with this right social support and, you know, being a part of the right groups, I think it can do people a lot of good to get out there and discuss it. I'd have liked to have had this platform when I was in my 20s and 30s.
Goal for talking about it is, 1, bring awareness that other people are in the same situation as you. And then 2, I've seen social media change so many people's lives, so why can't that be me?
My name is Yasmin.
All right, this girl makes a lot of points, and so there are going to be some stops along the way because she makes too many points for me to write down. So get prepared. Let's buckle up.
And I'm 31 years old, and I'm in over $55,000 worth of debt. 2025, I am going on a no spend, low spend. If I don't need it, I'm not buying it. If I'm not budgeting for it, I'm not buying it. I am going to give myself a budget of about $100 to $150 a month to buy non-needed stuff.
All right, we're going to stop right there. Now we're going to, you know, on this channel, when it comes to the young on TikTok, I tend to take a very gentle approach, unlike the Ramsey approach that I tend to take. Not towards Mr. Ramsey, but towards some of those calls, because those people are older, okay? But towards the young on TikTok, we put on the softer, gentler tone, a little less hairspray, okay? So she says that she is going to set herself up to get out of debt for 2025, and I'm going to try to quote kind of if I remember. Okay, she's not going to spend anything that's not necessary. But what does she do as soon as she says that? The next sentence basically is, but I'm reserved some money, 100 or whatever, to buy stuff I don't need. People, you can't have it both ways. You can't on one hand say, I am not going to buy anything extra. Not going to do it. Going to close my eyes to it. But then flip around and then say, but I'm going to reserve, some money so I can do it. Pick one or the other. Or if you don't like either one of those, pick a third one. You know what? I'm going to make a commitment this year to spend as little as possible on the things I just want. Not the things I need. No, we got to have that. But I'm going to make a real commitment. I looked over my budget last year and I noticed that I'm just going to throw out some pretend numbers. Play with me, okay? And I noticed that I spent $500 a month on things that I don't need. This year, I've knocked it down. So I'm going to really try to commit to only spending $100 a month on things I don't need. Do we see the difference? Always remember, you can compromise your budget. It doesn't have to be either or, but you can't say to yourself, I'm not going to spend anything that's not necessary, but I'm going to reserve $100 a month to spend stuff that is necessary. I'd rewind it, but I'm afraid of messing up the tape, so we're just going to keep on going.
For example, I don't pay to get my nails done at a salon, but I will go and get press-ons, right? Stuff like that. And I do have 2 kids, so there is times that they're gonna want stuff.
So now we have the 2 children. And what's being done? We got to be, I got the gentle hat on, family. I really, really do, okay? She's young, all right? but we have 2 kids, and we've made another excuse for why the budget may be broken, because they have needs. This is why, I will also put at the end, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. I will also put at the end a video that I did about 2-3 days ago, okay, that talks about the 5 things, in my opinion, that you need to be able to do if you're going to try to get out of debt. And in this case, I think this would be very fitting. So that means we're going to put the pet thing at the end, and the 5 things, in my opinion, 5 steps to debt freedom. They're not the only 5 steps, but they're 5 important steps. And you can watch me put on my makeup while I was doing it. Okay, so we're already adjusting. Again, it's not that she can't adjust. Just you don't want to convince yourself that you're going to do it perfectly one way and then just set yourself up for failure. You see? Don't want you to get yourself set up for failure.
25, my vacations are all gonna be drivable in like a weekend. No more of this like spending thousands and thousands of dollars on trips, which yes, we've enjoyed them, but
okay, now do you see the difference here? Do you see the difference? This was great. We are not going to go on $1,000 vacation trips. Where do these people get all this money? Oh, that's right, they're charging it. Because I don't go on vacations like that. Yes. So we're not going to do that. But what we're going to do instead is we are going to stay, I think they call it like a stay vacation. Okay? So instead of spending thousands of dollars to go somewhere, maybe we'll just, once or twice a year. I mean, I don't know our budget. We're just going to do a little stay vacation at a local beach area that we can get on a slow season discount. I'm just making this up, okay? But that's logical. She didn't say, and this year we're not going on any vacation at all. We are staying at home every single day. See?
it's time. It's time. Now, warranted about 40-ish thousand of my debt is my car. So, I mean, that's completely understandable. I love my car. She's a 2023 Nissan Rogue. I got her with 0 miles on it. Could I have gotten a different vehicle? Yes. But if you don't have car trauma, you just won't understand it. So,
all right, couple of things here. She got herself a $40,000 car. I am 57. I make $63,000 a year gross. I bought myself a brand new car. I'm in my 19th year of teaching, and this spring, 2024, so about 9 months ago, I bought myself a brand new 2024 Toyota Corolla Hybrid. $26,000. I paid it off in 9 payments. Why did I buy the car? I bought the car because I had had a lot of car trauma, and I was so traumatized, in fact, by it, going through divorce and everything else 9 years ago, that I didn't want any commitment to any car, so I went ahead and I leased a car for a couple of years. In fact, I leased the regular Toyota Corolla. It wasn't a hybrid. And after about 4 years of leasing, actually I was in my 5th year of leasing, I was in my 2nd lease, and it was getting ready to renew, actually fall of 2023, okay? And I said, you know what, I think it's time for me to, put on my big girl pants or whatever, and it's time for me just to go get a car, okay? I actually prefer leasing, believe it or not, and I would still lease, it just wasn't gonna be cost effective for me. So I bought a $26,000 car. She buys a $40,000 Nissan Rogue. That's fine, whatever. Okay, but I want to just draw very gently to why she bought it. She said, I have car trauma, and you would not know what that's like unless you've been through it. I've been through car trauma. A car that died, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe every month on the side of the road, a car. And I talked about it in some of my older YouTube videos. I had a car that was so sensitive I couldn't drive it out of town, so I was literally stuck in town. It was the Lincoln Mountaineer, which they don't even make anymore. Such a lousy car. I know what car trauma is. One of the things that we do to justify buying things that we don't need, or buying too much, in this case her $40,000 car, it's too much. Okay, how do we know it's too much? Because that 55 grand, okay? One of the things that we do is we convince ourselves that other people cannot possibly relate to why we're overspending on something. Well, you won't understand it. You can't possibly relate as to why I'm spending $40,000 on a vehicle because you haven't had car trauma. And if you've never had car trauma, then you can't possibly understand it. This gives us a justification as to why we are going to overspend. Well, I have had car trauma. Lots of people that I'm assuming have had car trauma. Okay, there's a reason they say driving the clunker around. Okay, car trauma perhaps. But we can't use that and say, well, the excuse for me to buying a $40,000 car is because I need a reliable car. I guarantee it to this young lady, she could have gotten a car for half of that and it would have been reliable. My Toyota Corolla, brand new, had 5 miles on it. Okay, 5 miles, I bought it brand new. The other thing too is so oftentimes when we purchase that car, remember she said what was it, beginning of the video, or beginning of her clip, she said that she is going to be really committed to not spending more than what she needs to spend. Well, how can you stay committed to that goal if you can so easily dismiss it and buy yourself a $40,000 car? I mean, these are things that this is why goals, in my opinion, financial goals can be so hard to stick with. The goal works until we can find an excuse to not make it work. It's just something to think about. And $40,000 car, let's not forget to tack on the interest. What's it running then? Probably about $50,000 car. Could have bought 2 Corollas with mine. And I barely paid any interest on it because I paid it off. Like I said, I paid it off in 9 months. So we just have to be careful that when we sit there and we say nobody can possibly understand, nobody can understand why I had to go on vacation because work is just driving me nuts. Nobody can possibly understand why it's so important for me every Saturday night to go and spend $100 at the local pub just so I can relax from a stressful day of work. Okay? Just simply admit or just simply say, hey, you know what? I got this $40,000 car because it's the car I really wanted. You don't have to go into all the, well, my kids need need a safe place to, ride a car in. And I have had car trauma because really it's just a code for simply saying we're trying to justify that we want more of something than what we know we really need. Hey, just points, folks.
Oh, I don't worry about my vehicle turning on me, not working on me. Like I always have a vehicle.
Wait till that vehicle, however, is going to need a repair. Because if she spent $40,000, just like I said, if she looks at the final bill, it's probably around $50,000. Now what happens? Lots of people have repairs with cars that are not paid off. Now, this one, she doesn't say anything, but I had to kind of chuckle. It says here, you visit a coffee shop to create a plan to pay off $100,000 in debt in 2025. Now, the only reason I'm kind of chuckling is because coffee shops tend to be really expensive. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to name the new coffee shop. We have a coffee shop here in town up on Del Mabry. I went there one time with a gal pal. I thought it made Starbucks look affordable. When I paid $6 for a small cup of hot cocoa, I'm like, you ain't going to be in business, 2-3 years from now. You never know. But I just think I want you guys to see the irony at times, all right? And in this case, I'm not being critical. I mean, it's freaking coffee, okay? And I went to Starbucks yesterday, okay? But there is kind of an irony in I'm going to try to pay off $100,000 in bills, but I'm going to sit and drink gourmet coffee while I'm doing it. It's just ironic. Not a big deal in this case, okay? But I will tell you, $100,000, I couldn't ever pay it off. Could not pay it off.
This is how much credit card debt we have. I have a really big goal of getting a big car, new-ish car, new to me car, bigger vehicle at the end of this year. And so to do that, I really need to get all of these balances down, as well as the minimums, and hopefully pay it off this year.
My name's
Okay,
Megan.
hold on here. Hold on. I'm going to back up to her thing here. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, Care Credit, that's a medical, no, it's not a medical savings account, but it's basically a charge card for your medical bill. So you go to the dentist and they say, hey, you need to have a $1,200 crown and we need to do it now because your tooth is cracked, whatever, okay? And you're like, oh, I don't have the money for it. Care Credit to the rescue, okay? Care Credit can be good and bad. Oftentimes, for those who may not know, Care Credit has a way where you simply have your doctor right then and there, okay? Put it on Care Credit. You do have to have a passing credit score, okay? And then oftentimes Care Credit will give you 6 months up to a year to pay the bill off, no interest. But man, you got to watch it like a hawk. It is no different than a credit card. The only difference is it's for medical only, okay? And I believe you can even put your pets on Care Credit as well. So she has here Care Credit around, what is it, 40, oh God, I thought she said 43,000. No, that's 4,000. Is that 4,000? That can't be. Oh, $439.56. Oh, sweet Jesus. Thank you. Okay. So she has a Care Credit bill of just around $450. She has an American Express credit card. Sisters in American Express. I have one too, okay? She has her Amex. She has her Best Buy. Now, just look at this. We have Care Credit, Amex, Best Buy, Barclays, which is a bank, ICCU, I don't know what that is, but it says credit card, and Costco. Now, without knowing Costco, sweet Jesus, 7,500. Okay, people, family, where's my fan? Oh, sweet Jesus. All right, got to turn on the fan. Whoo. All right, I just saw that. Costco, $7,593. Girlfriend, what did you do? How I wouldn't even know how to spend 75. Don't tell me when you were checking out of Costco and you got those salespeople standing there trying to sell you a new AC, furnace system for your house. Don't tell me you fell for that. Okay, $7,593 at Costco. Some other credit card, I don't know what it is, there's around $4,500 for that. Barclays is a bank, that's just might as well be a credit card for all as I'm concerned. $3,600. Best Buy, $1,700. Those four right off, an Amex for $1,000. The only thing I can see on here that I could immediately justify is Care Credit. Because again, that's medical. Costco, $7,500. Now she says she wants to buy a big truck or a vehicle or whatever. Okay, here's just something to consider. First off, kudos for recognizing the debt and wanting to clear the debt before you buy a vehicle. I think that's very, very smart. But here's something to just consider. In my opinion, okay, it does no good to say, hey, I'm going to get myself out of debt, clear up my, financial life so I've got room to breathe, if all I'm going to do is take all that debt that I have now cleared and I'm just going to transfer it to another big debt. Yes, she may not have these 6 things, but if she gets a vehicle that is the equivalent to these 6 things and more, have you really improved yourself financially? Now, some people say, well, yeah, because now, she's just got a car. Okay, but still, have you improved anything? If she takes all of these payments and she transfers it into a big vehicle, dollars are dollars are dollars to some extent, right? Whereas if she would reconsider, just perhaps, and get a slightly smaller vehicle, not only can she have all of this paid off, but she can have a different vehicle, preferably not the $40,000 one, like the other TikToker we just saw. Okay, remember, family, I'm putting on my general hat, putting on my soft hat, okay? But it's possible to pay all of this off and get a new vehicle without it being a gas guzzler, because the minute someone says big, have you thought about the insurance? Have you thought about the gas? Have you thought about the repairs? Have you thought about just what it's going to take to replace the tires? We can fool ourselves to some extent to say, hey, you know what? I'm so smart, I've paid all these bills off. And we all, we applaud and we clap we clap and we pat ourselves on the back. And then what do? We turn around and we just replace the whole thing all over again with either similar debt or something else. But we find that we're still just as short, the budget is just as tight, and sometimes we're even worse off than we were before. We're going to go on to our next video. Okay, you're going to watch it with me. All right, the pet video, we're going to do that right up here at the top. Okay? And then down here, as soon as we're done with the pet video, your homework assignment is to watch the video on 5 things that I think you need to have, do, be, whatever, if you wish to be debt-free in 2025. Next video. See you in just a few minutes.